schoolwork right now. Just keep my podcast. Cornelius. It's about 3 minutes till class ends. Might as well start wrapping up. Shut the Chromebook. Put my notes away. Might have to do journal first. Really quick. There we go. Done.
No wonder.
What are you talking about, Tom?
Yeah, no wonder the little boy died. His entire lower torso was torn in half.
Well, of course he's gonna die like that.
I wouldn't die like a freaking ate by a shark easily. If I ate by my arm off, I'll survive.
Sharkies? What kind of language is that?
If a shark bites me, I'll survive.
What are you reading about, Tom?
Dude,
What are you reading about?
this is for science. No, not science class. This is meant for like history class.
Oh my god. Yeah.
My school is considering you bring book.
That is quite disturbing.
She brings cards today. Well, she's here now for a visit. She's actually living up in
Yes.
Colorado. But she's here. She lives in Colorado somewhere else.
Skill 2. Yeah.
Is there favoritism in your family?
Oh yeah, there's another minute till the bell rings.
Yeah, I want a ball stick under my freaking mouth.
Yeah.
The only thing I ask for my birthday is gift cards. That's all I ask for.
The freaking kid with a ball stick on my side.
I guess so. Yeah.
I just got all the text messages when I walked out.
You did?
I got them all.
Just now.
No, not just now.
You look the right.
No, nothing. Hey, Christian, you want a soda? Oh, dang, I saw that. Dave.
Are you gonna punch me now?
Oh, no, it's something worse.
Oh my god, what are you gonna do?
You owe me something.
I've been a bad boy.
No.
I need punish.
You owe me a hot fry in Arizona now.
I don't know if I can give you that.
Right, and in Arizona?
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm getting it. Actually, no, I already got one. I forgot it at home. I forgot it at home.
What's your favorite snack at a
got
gas
it.
station?
I like Snickers.
Snickers, maybe?
Alright.
Have a good day.
Stop fucking lying, Austin. You know you're always lying, bitch.
Some people can just be mental, don't worry.
So you're calling me mental? I'm not that mental.
Yes, I am calling myself mental.
At least I'm not
I'm
that.
quite the retard.
I got him the stuff, my friend.
You brought him his stuff. How could you forget his stuff at home, man?
I was the other you owe me.
He needs his package.
I was almost late to school. I was late.
Did you turn in my homework?
Yeah. If I did, Val bring my fucking picture.
Nico! Oh my god!
Don't pretend you were
Come
there.
here!
I already come back.
What word?
You still owe me, bro. Our site started.
Hey, what's up, Brian? Wait, Austin, you never told Brian what I said about the aliens.
I was on the side. So he's closer to you.
Hey, what's up, Luis? How you doing, man? What period do you have lunch? Oh yeah, you have lunch too. That's right. I forgot I sat with you for a bit. I wonder what Christian is today.
Read this. I got in trouble yesterday, and I got this.
I got in trouble today. I got lunch detention.
And I got work at lunch. Yeah,
I wonder where Christian is today. I haven't
I'm right here. I'm Christian.
I don't think you're
I'm
Christian.
Christianity.
Oh, you're a Christian. You're just not a Christian. Hey, what's up, man? Oh, don't be hitting each other now.
He hit first. He did 3.
So he's deaf. Then again, you are retarded, so I'll let you off that one.
You already called it also you're mental.
I'm very
And
retarded.
also, you don't even know what's like.
Yes.
And you don't even know how to get a girl.
I have not seen a Christian today.
I'm
So.
right, Frank, in front of you.
Okay, just make sure you have that tag down. Have you seen Christian today?
Oh, I haven't seen that tubby, you little bitch. Tubby little crybaby once this month.
Just shut up.
Right.
You know.
No, I
Are
was
you going to keep pretending they're not here?
You're getting annoying already. Boy, you know that boy again.
He just told you, bro.
Right? I already grown up before you still immature.
It's okay, and you're not much. And you say
Well, at least I'm not annoying like you always, alright? Shut up.
Oh, he just called you annoying. Oh no, big deal.
The question is, how many females does he get compared to me?
What?
How many females does he get compared to me?
As far as I've seen, he's gotten none. Just like me.
Okay. Just wanted to clarify.
And I've seen all the girls that you got, so you got the proof.
No, I've heard about you. Bad. Yeah. All right, hurry up. Yes, you do. You and
Yeah,
Yellow.
I have a working lunch tomorrow. Gonna
Yeah, working lunch tomorrow.
get, yeah. Showed up
he
late.
does left.
I got sent to SMR when I got here, so.
Okay. Thanks, buddy. New girls will be late. John is here. Jordan is there.
What are we learning today? Are we gonna learn our big
Did we do the router the other day?
Which
Yes,
one?
we did.
We did the router?
We did the big router.
Did we do the planer?
No, we never got to the big
We never got to the big one.
We never got to the big ones.
See, I know about the planer.
Yeah.
All right. Vanessa is
See,
here.
if you know a
Alejandro
planer like me, you use a push
on
stick.
vacation.
Yeah.
Leah's here.
Even though I still failed that class.
Mel managed vacation.
How do you fail wood tech?
Ask him.
All right, David.
Ask Mr. Woods how I failed his class. Well, I didn't fail his class. I didn't do the rings. I just did an alternative set.
Oh, okay.
William, I saw.
I did my
And
rings.
saw.
Legit, all
Yep.
I did was on the scroll saw and
Anthony
legit
is
made
here.
shapes.
David.
It's legit all I did.
I'm here, sir.
Pacheco got here. Alejandra still working on. Alex.
What do you do
No Alex today.
No Christian Vasquez either.
Angel.
These
back
people
there.
like this tomorrow.
Jose. No Jeremiah.
Why so you get a break today?
Christian is here. Okay. So.
See how long it takes.
I don't know.
For Gasca.
Go ahead, make one noise one time.
Okay. Bye, Christian. Bye, Christian. Ooh.
Are you seriously just getting kicked out of class right now?
Edwards.
Did we just get him kicked out? He got
All I
mad
did was
just
make a simple noise. He go, man, you like, she, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, all we did was just make a simple noise and he just got so mad over it. I was like, shut the
I mean,
fuck
if I'm not
up.
fighting, we can fight.
Yeah, you'd probably win too.
Let's kick him in his shit. No.
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 Is this the test?
Come on. Come on, don't do this. Don't do this. Come on.
It's fine by me.
Edwards, no.
Sooner this gets done, the sooner we get in the shop.
This is the notes that you're going to be taking for the safety test, just to make sure.
Look, I never written anything down on here.
Oh, this is notes. This isn't the actual test.
No, you dumbass.
I am a dumbass.
Good, then you can just write everything and I'll copy down your
I'm a
work.
proud dumbass.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna copy down your everything you got. I ain't gonna follow whatever you do. Okay, pencil.
Okay. You want one? It's not sharpened though. Go sharpen it on the sander.
Every time we hit the party, who that? I'm about to take the. Who won the Eagles game?
Eagles lost, unfortunately.
Huh.
Yeah, I know.
Good. They need
Guess we're not going to the
All right,
Super Bowl
so-
again.
Yep.
First thing is the,
Scroll song.
you have the sheets right here that we use to go around write any rules down. I know most of the stuff you probably know, probably very familiar with it. However, I didn't have anybody in here got perfect grades on their safety test, so write down the stuff that is not real familiar to you. Okay?
Oh, that's
That
more.
way you have that for the test, you remember it.
You late.
Nobody's gonna be embarrassed because they failed tests that they've already passed one time before. Pencil?
You gotta kick out again.
Oh, that's my favorite pencil, so don't lose it. All right, so,
Yeah, he made that himself. He
um,
made that pencil himself.
let's go out, let's do the planer. You probably wanna bring that sheet with you, something to write with.
Legit, all the sound I made.
Yeah, I know. It's like, what's the big deal?
What is that called? Alrighty, so you guys said that I did do the router the other day, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. The planer. Now, what happens? The wood that we get from the sawmill comes rough like this. What happens is that, you know, they go take a tree down, they run it through their sawmill, and after it's run through the sawmill and they cut it kind of, you know, to shape, it has to dry. They put it in a big room just like this right here. They heat it up to about 120 degrees and they let it sit there for about a month. And it cooks out all the moisture out of it. Well, during that time, when they cut it, everything's nice and flat. But when it dries, the wood has a tendency to get a little bumpy. It has a tendency to kind of be a little thicker in some places, thinner in the other. What happens is that all that moisture is gone out of that board. And then we've got to go and flatten it out there. Now, if you don't have any kind of a planer, now they make smaller ones. You could buy what's called a 12-inch planer for about $250. And you could have that in your wood shop at home just to plane down boards. Now we do a whole bunch of boards on here, so we have kind of a big one here. If I didn't have a planer, I would have to buy my wood already planed down to where it's nice and smooth. Now just to let you know the price difference, if I buy something that's rough like this right here, I might pay around $2 a board foot for it. Okay, depending on the kind of wood that it is. However, if I get it all the way planed and cleaned and all that kind of stuff, I might pay $4 a board foot for it. So it's a lot more expensive to buy it all cleaned up there. So that's one way that we kind of save money on stuff. All right. Now, before I can run the board through the planer though, I do have to check for a few things to make sure the board's safe. Well, the most common thing that we run into on boards is these little guys right here. Those are called knots. Knots are K-N-O-T-S. So not N-O-T-S, but K-N-O-T. It's a silent K on it. But anyway, knots. Knots are where a tree had a branch growing out of it. So all of our lumber comes from the main trunk of the tree, from the ground, usually up to the first branch. The problem is every once in a while a small branch will grow out here and there, and they're not just going to waste the whole tree, they're going to cut it down and we'll have to deal with a few knots here and there. So we like the board nice and clear. However, some types of wood have a lot of knots in them, some will just have the occasional one. Well, now, I told you about that drying process. When you dry the board out, it shrinks. Well, the knots are really, really hard, and they don't shrink at the same rate as the rest of the board. So they'll get loose on here. Sometimes they'll just fall out with nothing. I mean, you just look at them, they fall out. Sometimes they're in there nice and hard. You don't have to worry about them whatsoever on here. Just to have some stuff right here. For instance, I have a board here that has a little knot on the end of it. No problem. What I'm going to do, and then I get some that are absolutely huge. I had one board right here. This whole thing right here, that whole thing is a knot. So basically, I just cut out the whole section of board. I just didn't want to run it through here. You can kind of see from the edge where the board kind of humps up right here where the knot is and all that, it's really going to be a pain in the butt to run through the planer. And because there's so many cracks and everything in there, I just don't want to risk it. My thing, just cut out that whole section right there with that huge one, get rid of it. I had another one that, as you can see, it's got a big crack on the edge right there. So again, not worth the risk of running it through there and having that break out and tear out the wood. So I just cut that whole section out. Now this one, I'm actually going to go and take and cut right up along here, and I can save the rest of this piece of wood. I can plane that down and use that, that's no problem. But I just didn't want to plane this whole board with that in there. So we'll rescue some of that wood, be able to use it. All right, so now to the big thing. What'll happen, my planer, as those cutters are going along through there, they'll grab onto that knot, a loose one, lift it up, break it into pieces, and shoot it back over here. Well, if I'm standing there and it's shooting little rocks back at me, they're going to hurt. Okay, so I don't want to have those things coming out there. The other thing I'm looking for, cracks. Cracks are another bad thing. If I take a look at this board right here, it's got a big old crack on there. If I ran that through this way, it would actually grab that whole chunk of wood and throw it back at me. So I don't want those cracks going through there. If it comes off to the side, or if it feels like it'll break off, then break it off. Just take the whole thing off of there. Now, if I have cracks that, another example. I have a board here that has cracks going right down the middle of it here. Now, as long as it's going down the middle of the board, basically, this is just two boards, but they're long enough to run in through there. If it comes to the side, it can break it off, break it off. But this one, not a problem. Okay, so if it's long stuff in the middle, which happens a lot, don't worry about it. All right, and the last thing I want to look for, anything metal. Nails, screws, anything like that. We've run into, like I said, we run into nails all the time, screws, wire. Maybe the tree grew up next to a fence, grabbed some of the wire, and the wire grew into the tree. We found bullets, buckshot, all kinds of stuff in the wood. So you want to be careful of that. Easiest way to tell if there's a nail in here or any other kind of metal is that normally there'll be a big ugly blotch. You'll have the wood is one color, but then all of a sudden there's a big ugly black spot. What happens, the nail started to rust. When it starts to rust, it dyes the wood all around it, so there's a big ugly blotch. Take a screwdriver, scrape around. If there's a piece of metal, you don't want to run it through the planer, let me know, we'll dig it out, we'll see what we can do to avoid it, but please don't run it through the planer, it will break the blades, and no good. Okay, 3 most common things to watch out for. Once we determine that piece of wood's safe, this one's good and ready to go in through there, now I've got to get things ready to run it through. First of all, we're learning measuring because we have to measure the piece of wood. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my ruler over here. I'm going to measure how thick that piece of wood is. Just over 1 inch. My only problem is it does have a little bit of a bow to it. So I'm going to set it a little bit bigger than 1 inch. The planer is going to cut thickness. That means every time I run this board through, the board's going to get thinner and thinner. I'm going to keep turning it over. It's going to cut one side, keep going. It's going to cut the other side. So what I'm going to say, right now I said it's 1 inch thick. I'm going to set it a little bit thicker. There's a ruler over here on this side. This is the side that you operate the machine on. There's a ruler over here, and I have to read the ruler, and I'm going to set it a little bit more than 1 inch. Take a look here. That's it, a little bit too much. So I'm going to come up right about there. It should fit under. It doesn't. So I need to go a little bit back off a little bit more. Now, the board does fit under here. It's not sloppy. If I put this under here and it's really sloppy and moves around a whole bunch, it's not set correct. It should just barely slide underneath the front here. Okay, once that's set, now I'm ready to go. Now, the planer is going to make a lot of sawdust. You got to remember, I'm cutting off the entire top surface of this piece of wood. So it's going to make a big pile of sawdust by the time I get done. I need to have the dust collector on anytime I use this machine. Now, like the table saw, if I'm cutting one board, I really don't have to turn it on. If I'm using the band saw, it doesn't make that much sawdust. I can pretty much go all day cutting on there. It's not going to make a big difference. This, like I said, for one board, you're going to end up with a big pile of sawdust. Would you hit that green button on that gray box over there and turn that dust collector on for me? Right by the door. This way. This side, gray box. There. All right. So basically, I'm turning on the vacuum cleaner. Vacuum cleaner is hooked right up here. Make sure my vent is open, and I can hear that picking up dust. I'm going to take my boards back, turn this on, make sure I have my glasses on, and then I'm standing to the side. I don't want to stand here. If something goes wrong, it's going to come back. I'm going to feel good. All right, off to the side. Take and cut off that top surface. Now it's getting smooth. So now I'm going to turn the board over. I got this other side right here. I'm going to plane it down. But if I run it through right now, it's not going to do anything. I've already cut it to this thickness. I need to raise the table up a little bit so I'll cut this side. So I'm going to take a turn, half a turn. Stand to the side, give that a little push. Now I cut a little bit, but you can see the board had a little bit of what we call a cup to it. It was curved this way. So now it's cut to here and here. I'm going to need to cut a couple more times to get it to the center. I'm going to come back over here, half a turn. I'm going to go back to my other side again. I'm going to keep flipping it back and forth until everything's nice and smooth. So now I've got most of this in. See, I've got a little bit of stuff here on the side. Come back. I'm going to do this edge right here that's real bad. Half a turn. That's lifting up the table a little bit more. My board is getting thinner and thinner every time. Okay, I could probably be done here. I've got it nice and flat on both sides. I don't have a curve to the wood anymore. But normally what's going to happen with you guys is we're going to need to take this down to 3/4 of an inch. Now I said I was at about an inch before. Now I've taken this down and I'm about 7/8. I still need to take another 1/8 of an inch to get down to 3/4. And that's actually going to be our working thickness to make our table. We want all the pieces here to be exactly 3/4 of an inch. So these need to be 3/4, these need to be 3/4. Our table will probably leave a little thicker at first, just so that we have a little room to sand some things in case it ends up uneven on here. But everything else is going to need to be exactly 3/4 of an inch, which means you're going to need to make sure you keep your ruler right there, and then every time you run it through, check your measurement. All right. The other fun thing is, I always like it when people bring me a board, they say, Mr. Edwards, I've got it planed down and it's all nice and flat. And you go, okay. Then I said, you get 3/4 of an inch. And then they turn the board over and they show me this side never got planed. Do remember to keep turning the board over so you get both sides. So if this side's rough, you got to plane it down, it's going to make it thinner. Okay, we don't want to do that. Keep going on both sides. All right, get it to the 3/4 and you're going to be all set. Now, sometimes boards will be a little bit shorter. All right, sometimes the boards will be a little bit shorter. Needs to be at least 12 inches long. It has to go from roller to roller right here. And I think I'm going to finish this up afterwards so I don't have to rush. Okay? If you want to just go and set those in the other room, we'll finish it up after. Thanks for the help, buddy. Give me some dry out. The oatmeal didn't do it for you this morning. I'm hungry already.
Why did you bring lunch?
I always bring my lunch.